I went to one of these attackers who's apparently a football player in Holland, again one of the Muslim radicals that are living there, and I screen recorded his video before he takes him down, his live stream, because I knew that he's probably gonna try to hide it later on, play the victim. And look what he's doing there. Anywhere that I go, I carry a black shirt under my clothes or in the back, and if something like this happened, what I do is put it on immediately, take your shirt off, disguise your Israeli or Jewish identity. I also always carry with me one of these kafiyas or scarves. You can throw it on you immediately, and in that moment, if you manage to escape to a safe place and do that quickly, you just reduce drastically the chance of you being lynched.
Vandaag gaan we op jodenjacht, jongen. Op jodenjacht. الكانكرهورة حنرجد Amsterdam الزوامل.
Jew hunting. That's what he's saying. Cursing the Jews, calling for Jew hunting. Amsterdam has fallen, guys. Hundreds of jihadists running in the street, going on Jew hunting rampage, while the police is basically doing nothing or incapable of doing anything. Meanwhile, on the other side, you have hundreds of Israeli dumb hooligan fans going around and chanting very disturbing stuff, racist stuff, terrible stuff. Where should we even start? Well, I think for the sake of integrity, we're going to talk about both. We're going to tackle both problems here and try to break it down. And we're going to watch the videos of the live streams of many of these idiots as they bring Intifada revolution into the streets of Europe.
Free Palestine! Palestine, huh? That's Gaza, motherfuckers! Gaza...
ירדנו מהרכבת, לא הייתה שום משטרה ופשוט כל אחד לעצמו. ושם באזור כיכר דם חיכו המוני אנשים, אולי מאות טורקים, מהגרים, ערבים, שרק חיפשו לפגוע, להרביץ ולעשות לינצ'ים. הם פשוט תפסו אנשים והרביצו להם עם החגורות, מכות, וואו, מזעזעות. המשטרה לא ממש כאן כדי לשמור עלינו. הם לא רגילים לדברים מהסוג הזה, בטח לא בסדר גודל הזה שהיה מאוד מאוד גדול. באמצע הלילה המשטרה, שלא ממש הצליחה להשתלט על האירוע, התחילה לקחת האנשים פיזית למלונות שלהם עם רכבים משטרתיים וליווי משטרתי.
That's a Jewish woman. I don't think she's a football fan, and I don't think that was, that was clear, pure anti-Semitism. That was not some hooligans fights.
Free Palestine.
That's when the police managed to catch some of these idiots who are live streaming, just like Hamas did basically. For some reason they love to live stream anti-Semitic stuff. However, it seems like they were all released. The Amsterdam police came with an announcement that there was not a single arrest after that. Uber drivers from Turkey, from Pakistan, from Iraq, from Syria, second to third generation of migrants. Now that did not age well. I remember when I used to warn a lot of my European friends that that this is not immigration, this is an invasion. They are having open border policy and it's going to bring so many bad people who are going to exploit that. And they were telling me, no, they're coming here and they're going to change. Once they're going to see the Western European mentality, they're going to change and adapt our ways. They're not changing and they're not adapting your ways. They're trying to change your ways to adapt to them. And they feel empowered in the streets because they see your culture as a weak culture, because what they see as strength is what you see as weakness, and what they see as weakness, you guys see as strength. Diplomacy, for example. So that's why Europe is becoming worse and worse. And I don't want to be the guy who's going to say, I told you so, but it's going to get even worse, guys. And there's going to come a day when you're going to look back at all the people that he tried to silence, like me and many other Middle Eastern Arabs who came to warn you from the radical Islam that is coming into your continent, and you chose to silence us, you chose to call us racist and bigots and I don't know what, all kind of nasty names, instead of actually listening to the wisdom of the Arab man when it comes to warning you about the radical Arab man. Now here's a cool, beautiful story of solidarity, and I want to take a time to talk about it, not just because the guys are Druze just like myself, an Israeli Arab. An amazing story emerged from last night about an Arab hero who stepped in to save many Jews from being attacked. Melhem Assad, a devoted Maccabi Tel Aviv fan who attended the game in Amsterdam, played an active role in finding and rescuing Jews from the attack by the extremists. His approach was to speak loudly in Arabic, with a group of Israeli fans walking around him, creating the impression that everyone in his group was Arab rather than a Jewish. This tactic successfully misled the attackers, who then left them alone. At points, he was even pointing, the Jews are over there, the Jews are over there, speaking in Arabic with a lot of confidence, and they ran away. This Druze young man, when he saw what's happening, he had the option to either run away. Easy, he speaks Arabic, you understand what they're saying, just throw off the Maccabi Tel Aviv scarf, run away, and leave the Jews for their fate. But he chose to rather risk his own life, and what he did, he ran back to the Jewish fans and started telling them, take away your scarves, take away any Israeli or Jewish identification symbols, and follow me. And when the Muslim mob of these Uber drivers and the second, third generation immigrants came to lynch them, he basically said these guys are not Jew, and he spoke in Arabic and he led them to the other direction. Here's a good tip that I can give anyone who might find himself crossing paths with these peaceful, activist, violent, pro-Palestinian mobs. What I usually do is I carry in my backpack, or anywhere that I go, I carry a black shirt under my clothes or in the back. And if something like this happened, what I do is in my bag I'll have a ski mask, this black ski mask with the holes on. Put it on immediately. Take your shirt off, so you're staying with a black shirt. The reason for that is because many of these violent, peaceful, pro-Palestine activists, they tend to cover their face. They all tend to wear black. And what happened in that moment, that helps you, first of all, disguise your Israeli or Jewish identity. I also always carry with me one of these kafiyas or scarves. You can throw it on you immediately. And in that moment, if you manage to escape to a safe place and do that quickly, you just reduce drastically the chance of you being lynched, mobbed, or in general assaulted. There's a few other stuff that I usually hide. There's a few other items that I usually hide in my backpack just to be ready in case someone might try to come and hurt me. But we're not going to share that in that video for the sake of not having my video canceled. But I might do a video about it next time. But what I'm saying is, have these items with you. Can be a life and death situation, can help you save yourself, and can help you later on go and maybe save your friends, just like this guy here did. This Druze young man, the rescue effort spanned several hours, during which Assad repeatedly used his strategy to shield Jewish Maccabi fans who were under attack in restaurants, in bars, in casinos, unable to safely reach their hotels. Time and again, he employed the same tactic to protect more people. Madam, you are a hero. And that quick thinking of this young, brave, Druze Arab Israeli fan saved probably many lives. Let's talk about the Maccabi fans. You need to understand, this is not the majority of the Israelis. This is the minority. In Israel, we call them Arsim. Arsim it's a funny word because Arsim is actually an Arabic word that came to describe very inappropriate behaving Arab men inside the Arab community, people who disrespect the law. These guys that are smoking cigarettes, throwing it outside the streets, whistling to girls in the streets, and I don't know what, don't have the fear of God, don't have the fear of the law in them. Kind of, it's like the Arab hooligans. Now, among the Jews also, you have a lot of these, it might sound weird saying it, but a lot of these Jews who behave just like the Arab hooligans, so they started calling them Arsim. Often, these idiots, they don't go to the army, or if they go, they don't let them have any important role, definitely not send them to a combat unit. A lot of times, they're just cowards. And what happened here is a bunch of these very misbehaving Israelis went in the street and started provoking a lot of people that are hurt by the war, a lot of people that have maybe relatives or family that have been affected by the war, or just in general, a lot of people that are extremely anti-Semitic. With that said and done, let's look at the other side. This attack did not happen as a response to these Israeli Arsim hooligans. This attack was well coordinated. Nights before, they were planning on doing this pro-Palestine violent peaceful demonstration to come and counter the Maccabi fans. And when the police came and told them, no, we know what you're doing, it's going to be violent, what they did is they started going in these Telegram groups and started saying, okay, how are we going to get these Jews? And you can see literally messages. The attacker organized the assault in a WhatsApp group, Telegram group, especially from Arab taxi drivers and Ubers who used their network to play an outsized role. Here are some of the messages that they had. Tomorrow after the match at night, Jewish hunt. They won't go to the casino anymore. Yes, tomorrow they will come again. Let us know, just like today. So they're literally planning on this Jewish hunt. And later on they're talking, anyway, if they come again, I will text you again. Shukran for today, bro. Signal worth good. Blah, blah, blah. Tomorrow they will be worked on. Who can arrange fireworks? Lots of fireworks needed. Interesting. They're not using these fireworks to celebrate any independence or any birthday party. Let's just say it that way. They even seem to be app traffic that shows that they maliciously prepared this pogrom, this hunt for the Jews. Because that is what it was. They moved in groups, cornering their targets. Video are circulating the assault and attempts to run over Israelis with cars. There were Israelis that had to jump into the river in the cold winter to save their skin. Here is one of the taxi updates, 24/7 group with 4,080 members. 233 of them were online. Blocking the players' bus of those fucking Jews. Hang Palestinian flags in the city, and they will come like rats. So they plan to make a trap for these Israeli hooligans, these Arasim, by putting these flags, because they were not allowed to go to demonstrate outside of the game and block their buses because the police was protecting the Jews. So they said, instead of that, we'll put these flags like cheese crumbles, and these hooligans will come around to tear these flags, and that's how we'll catch them. Are you mosque, brother? Someone wants to be in group, etc., etc. Most of the attackers belong to the Uber driver network. It was well organized, it was planned before, and most of the perpetrators have Arab background. And here we go, second, third generation, full-on jihadist views, and they're just getting more confident in the street. Now, with that said, I'm not saying that any immigrant that came here adapt this behavior, and it's important to understand, just like the Israelis who were in that group do not represent the majority of Israelis, I would like to believe that a lot of these immigrants do not represent the majority of the immigrants in Amsterdam, the majority of the Muslims that came here. Hopefully not. I do believe they do not represent, but the question is, where is their voices? Why aren't they going in the street right now and trying to talk and say they do not represent us? That's what seems to be missing, that silent majority that is letting the violent minority take over and give a very bad name in the name of globalized intifada. A Dutch politician said, "I am speechless. Amsterdam police just confirmed that no one has been arrested during the Islamic Jew hunt in Amsterdam. Thursday night, all arrests have been made before and during the soccer match and not during the program." Well, let me tell you something, guys, as an Israeli who's living in Europe. Your police system, your secret service system is so behind. They are so not prepared to deal with an intifada revolution. They are so not prepared. That was just a glimpse of an October 7. Just a bunch of masked jihadists running in the street and doing whatever they want. The police was not able to arrest even a single one of them. They were not able to defend any Jew. And if they will choose to do an October 7 in Europe, you guys are way, way behind. So, the warning is on the wall. If they want to wake up and do something about it, it's them. If they just want to roll over and let them make Europe as a Taliban state, that's also their decision. Oh, here's one thing. That's a message that was made by Lorena Hatib, who used to be a Druze member of the Israeli government, and she have right now her own podcast for Druze people. An amazing, inspiring human rights activist, I would call. This is the symbol of coexistence. Malhem Asad, a member of my village, Kisra, a fan of Maccabi Tel Aviv, was in Amsterdam when the pogrom started in the city streets, and thanks to his quick thinking, he took advantage of the fact that he speaks Arabic in order to confuse these rioters, these jihadists, and save many Jews. We're proud of you, Malham, and I hope that we'll see more and more people like you, not only in crisis times. Here's another very disturbing fact. 400% rise in anti-Semitism since the beginning of October 7 in the Western world. And on the top of that list is Britain, France, Holland. Right after them are coming Sweden, Belgium, and Ireland. Why am I not surprised? On the bottom of that list, and I will proudly say that, is Germany. Why am I saying proudly? Because I'm living in Germany and I can see with my own eyes in Germany, they're still fighting anti-Semitism. They did not fully endorse it or roll over and just let them do what they want. They're still trying to keep their promise that they made to the world and to the Jews after World War II. Never again. And they kind of managed to discern I'm not saying that all in Germany, you still have pockets, but me going around the street, I do see that people here in Germany have a better understanding compared to many other European countries to how does real anti-Semitism look, and they're not falling for this victim narrative as easy as other countries. Just cut! Action! You gonna work now?
Yeah, I have my 5 minutes.
Alright. I hope you were dancing with a speedo like Borat in the background.
My 5 minutes are running?
No, I'm just watching the master of his work.
Yeah, but I have to.
This is a very interesting shot. This man is not Jewish, and he's shouting, I'm not Jewish, don't hurt me. Just happened to be, I think he's Ukrainian. But it just shows you this reality that we're living right now in Holland, in Europe, where people need to shout, I'm not Jewish, just so they don't get attacked in the street by these radical Muslims. Here's a fan that is being beat up on the street, begging for his life, telling him, take my money, don't hurt me. It's for the children, free Palestine, as if he have anything to do with freeing Palestine. Jews jumping into the river just so they can survive and run away from the lynch mobs, from these jihadists. Now, a lot of people will try to spin this off as just a brawl between football fan hooligans. No, that's not a brawl between football fan hooligans, guys. This is an organized, orchestrated Jewish hunt in the streets of Europe, in the streets of Amsterdam. That's why I say Holland has fallen. They have no way to stop this. Their police is incapable. It's not like they were not warned. The warning was written on the wall with neon lights, and they chose to ignore it, or they basically came and said, we are disqualified, we cannot handle it. An interesting personal story that happened to me in Amsterdam about 2 years ago. I was the head chief of security for one of these gigantic cruise ships, and we were docked inside of Amsterdam in the port. And about 1 o'clock at night, I get a call from my supervisor that an Algerian Muslim immigrant went on parkour style, climbed over the fence, climbed over the building, jumped on the jetway, and walked down to the gangway, the entrance to the ship, and tried to illegally enter the ship. When he was confronted and stopped by some of my employees, he tried to punch one of them in the face. A big mistake. That guy was an Indian retired naval officer, and man, these guys are made out of bricks. You can't make them harder than how they are. He took the hit. He fought him back. The guy ran away. He managed to go and catch him. He caught him, subdued him, gave him to the Dutch authorities. You know what they did with him? They let him go. I jumped out of bed. I went there. I asked a guy named Lobo, the real deal. You know, some of these Indian Navy officers, they're as hard as it gets, tougher than bricks. And I asked him, where's the guy? He said, I gave him to the Dutch authorities and they just let him go. So I went to them and said, guys, why'd you let him go? And they said, we don't know what to do with them. You know, Holland is been swarmed by them. There's so many of them here in Holland. We don't know what to do with them. The streets of Amsterdam are just full of these radical Muslim hooligans. So I told him, no, he is probably trying to enter the ship again. Come with me. We're going to walk around. We walked around the block, and surprise, surprise, I found him sitting by the mooring lines. That's the ropes that lead into the ship. And he was planning on jumping on the ropes and coming again into the ship. And the reason for that, because he realized that he's fed up with Europe and he want to go to America. So I used some negotiation skills back from my past, and I managed to calm him down. I ordered him room service, I fed him well, and I called the police again and said, listen guys, the guy is here with me, I managed to calm him down, come and arrest him. He is an illegal immigrant and he's trying to do illegal stuff. He just assaulted one of my staff and he's trying illegally to break into the ship and illegally to go and enter America because the ship was about to cross the Atlantic and go to the US. The police came again, talked to him, I translated, and decided to release him again. And I asked them, why aren't you arresting the guy? And they said, you know how many of them we have? Every day, in the hundreds. We just don't know what to do with them. You arrest him, he goes to jail, he eats free food, he comes back into the system. We just let them go. Surprise, surprise. The morning after, another con artist tried to enter the ship illegally. Only this time he was a young British man. Again, my guys caught him. I came, took him down. The police came. This time they handcuffed him, took him to the car, and arrested him. And I asked him, what are you doing? He says, we're arresting him. He says, why are you arresting this guy? He said, because he did something illegal. He's European. He's from England. It's part of, the Brexit, okay, but he's part of Europe. So we're going to arrest him and persecute him and send him back to his country so he can go to jail. And I came and I said, wait a second. So when a European breaks the law, you jump on him, you handcuff him, you arrest him. But when an illegal immigrant, a jihadist, Muslim, radical, probably a supporter of terrorism, breaks the law in your country, you just let him go. They just looked at me and put their eyes down. That is the reality that you're living in Europe. And if that doesn't bother you, then I'm sorry, guys, you are doomed. You need to wake up and realize that this is not an immigration, this is an invasion. And like I said in many videos before, I have no problem with immigration. I'm an immigrant myself here in Europe, but you have something different between healthy legal immigration, people who come into your country because they appreciate your country, because they want to assimilate your culture, they want to work, support your economy, support your culture, they accept it, they want to learn your language, learn your ways, and respect your ways. And then you have illegal immigration. Right now in Europe, they have no discerning between the two. They're just letting anyone comes in. Actually, illegal immigrants are being held accountable for crimes, while illegal immigrants are being let off the hook and just let go to roam Europe again and keep doing what they're doing, which is bringing Intifada revolution and Sharia law into your countries. Now, when I was in Israel, I met with one of my dear friends from the Shabak, and we sat together for a coffee and we talked about October 7, and we talked about how Israelis have responded and went and fought back the citizens. The special forces off duty went and fought Hamas and pushed them back. Men and women went to fight terrorists so they can rescue their own people and save them from being raped, burned alive, and etc., kidnapped. And then I asked him, how well do you think is Europe prepared for something like that, something in that scale? And he told me Europe is screwed. They are so behind the Shabak, the Secret Service, the military, the police, they will not be able to handle it. They will just roll over and they will take them over. What happened in Israel ended up in the death of 1,200 innocent citizens. Over there, it will end up in the death of thousands, if not tens of thousands of people, because they don't know how to fight them, they don't know how to handle them. And we sat down and we actually talked about what can we do to help prepare these innocent civilians in Europe, in America, in the West that might want to be able to better defend their families. And that's going to be one of my next podcasts. I'm still editing it. I think it's more relevant now than ever. We should not tolerate any acts of terrorism, any act of violence, any act of racism. Doesn't matter if it's Israeli arsim or hooligans, or if it's second, third generation of Uber drivers from Muslim countries in Europe that decide to go on a Jew hunt in the streets of Europe, the streets of Amsterdam. One of the reports was a casino staff, a Muslim casino staff who was calling these Uber drivers and these gangs of Muslim men and telling the Jews are here, come and get them. They're hiding here and hiding there. This is what it means, Intifada, in your street. And that's a great example of how unsafe Europe have become since they allowed radical Muslim immigration, unchecked Muslim immigration, to come into their midst, welcoming them with open arms, spending billions of dollars of tax-paying money from the European people so they can welcome them and basically give them a red carpet to come and take over your continent. Wake up, guys. This is very concerning. This is a next step of anti-Semitism in Europe. And it's not going to stop here. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to keep going. It's going to get worse and worse until you guys do something to stop it. Because the moment that they did that and they've realized that there's no repercussion, that there's no consequences, they're going to do it next time even bigger. They're going to, other Muslim immigrants, other Muslim Uber drivers in Belgium, in France, in other places, in Sweden are going to see this and say, wow, look at this. We should do the same. This is inspiring for them. That's why they do these videos. It's the dumbest thing to stream yourself live as you're doing these kind of crimes. But they do that because it gives them confidence. Other people see that, wow, this is working. I went to one of these attackers who's apparently a football player in Holland. Again, one of the Muslim radicals that are living there. And I screen recorded his video before he takes him down, his live stream, because I knew that he's probably going to try to hide it later on, play the victim. And look what he's doing there. He is live streaming himself with his friends, beating up Jews, burning the flags. How they're gathering before in this coordinated Jew hunt attack. Trying to be quiet. Looking for Jews. And then they see and they just charge at them. Look how they're all dressed black, like I told you, wearing masks. His name is Hanun. Chasing Jews in the streets.
Please, listen, I'm trying, I'm trying. Amigo, I'm trying.
They found a Jewish victim,
That's what I'm children. I give you my money.
beating him up in the streets. He's begging for his life.
Fils de pute. Charmota. Persona.
Interesting. Oof, that's a disturbing one. That's a hard image to watch. Driving with a car and running by Jewish people in the streets. This guy is begging them, telling them, I'm not Jewish, I'm not Jewish. I think he's a Ukrainian man who came and said, I'm not Jewish, don't hurt me, I'm not Jewish. Just the fact that in Europe people need to right now scream and say, I'm not Jewish, don't hurt me, should wake you all up. That is a very concerning situation. What's next? You're going to start putting ribbons on them so you know who to lynch and who's not? Because, oh, he's a Jew, we can hit him. He's not a Jew, we don't need to hit him. It's getting worse and worse, guys. The old will die, but the young will never forget. Free Palestine. Yeah, sure. You know, all these guys are heroes when they're running in gangs like this, many against few, but I've seen them. You know when they stop being heroes and they start becoming cowards, peeing their pants when they see an IDF soldiers coming into their house in the middle of the night. That's when they stop being the heroes and they start just shitting their pants. I've been there, I've seen with my own eyes. All this heroic, free Palestine, liberation just flies out of the window and they start crying like babies, literally soiling their pants. I've been there, I've seen that. Well, let's see about this guy. Once either Israel gets to him, and hopefully maybe the Amsterdam police will get to him before. But in a very disturbing news, Geert Wilders, one of Holland's politician who's been talking for years against radical Islam taking over Europe, tweeted this: I am speechless. Amsterdam police just confirmed that no one has been arrested during the Islamic Jew hunt in Amsterdam. Thursday night, all arrests have been made before and during the soccer match and not during the pogrom. How concerning is that? If I was a free Dutch person, I would not be sleeping good at night knowing that this is how my country, this is how the police is handling these radical jihadists in your streets, giving them jobs basically, and letting them freely roam. During this attack where Jews were being hunted down in the streets of Amsterdam, Israel, seeing that the Amsterdam police was not defending its people, they were getting phone calls that the police is here, we reported it, they're doing nothing, they're just leaving us alone, they cannot handle the situation. Israel contacted Holland and realized that these guys cannot defend the Jews in their countries, and the IDF arranged a special airplane with special rescue units to go and rescue Jews from the streets of Holland, go and rescue Jews from Europe. That airplane was in the end called off by the Prime Minister once the situation managed to somehow calm down and they were able to account for every missing Jew that was there. Some of them jumped into the water, freezing river in the winter to run away and save their lives. Some of them went and hid in other buildings. Some of them were rescued by the Druze man who walked around, this Arab Israeli, the Druze, my people, who walked around and was shouting in Arabic and protecting these people, taking all kind of identification symbols that show that they are Israelis or Jews and calling them Arabs so they won't get lynched. And then Israel decided to drop it down, and El Al stepped in and said that they will send their airplanes to rescue the Jews out of Amsterdam so they can bring them to Israel safely. Wow, let that sink in, guys. We're living in a situation in Europe right now where Jews are not safe to be in the streets. Imagine you're walking there with your family on a weekend stroll with your wife and kids, and then suddenly these hooligans start walking around, these radical Uber drivers, second-generation Muslims who obviously still believe in Muslim brotherhood values, and they decide to target you and your family. How will you defend yourself? Are you able to defend yourself? Do you have anyone to trust? Are you able to trust your Dutch neighbors? Or is it going to be the same thing like in the Holocaust? They're going to turn a blind eye, or maybe they will even report you to find favor among the radicals that came and took over the country. Because obviously, if the people in Holland cared about the Jews, they will be in the street right now, raging. not going around supporting the pro-Palestinian demonstration that happened the next day, where they went and cheered what happened and celebrated and kept asking for free Palestine, knowing nothing about the situation in the Middle East, knowing nothing about Palestine, just being useful idiots again and again. Guys, you have let your Jewish brothers and sisters, your Jewish neighbors, you have let them down once. And they had to flee your continent. And we saw what happened to Europe after that. World War II, the rise of Nazism. It's happening again, only this time Nazism is coming with a different kafia. It's modern Nazism. Radical Islam is modern Nazism, and it's happening in your street. And the same people that are in your street, these progressive liberals going around saying, F the Nazis, F the fascists, are the same one who chose to endorse just a new form of Nazism. What does that tell you? That's why I stopped believing all these radical pro-human right, pro-feminist activists. They're fake, they're empty, because if they were real, in the face of real anti-Semitism, we would have seen them grab the flag and be the first one to condemn it, the first one to stand with women who got raped, the first one to stand with innocent people who got butchered. But instead of that, they chose again the other camp. Just like back then they chose the Nazis, now they're choosing radical Islam, which shows you that Europe did not learn from the lessons of the past. Well, anyway, I hope this video was helpful. And if you did enjoy the content, feel free to go to my YouTube channel, click the like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, the whole shebang. And if you want to find a direct way of helping me keep doing content for you, go and check my Patreon, where you can find practical ways to help me keep doing the work that I'm doing. Because after all, I am doing this for free and out of my own free time. So your support is very appreciated. But until then, guys, just don't do anything stupid. In general, do not stay silent when you see people trying to hunt Jews in your neighborhoods. Because first they went after the Jews, and then they went after us all. Stay safe. See you next time.